Hey guys, this is Arkel here, and like I said, I was going to make that other little video right after the last one, so I am doing that right now. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys ahead of time this video is probably going to get really long and pretty rambly, so just forewarning, get yourself a sandwich and like, just sit back and relax, if you care that much. Anyway, yeah, so this video, I don't know, like, I don't know if I'll be able to explain this very well, but I know you guys probably have heard me say it before, and you guys probably know that when it comes to this hobby, I'm a little bit more, I guess, like secretive, I guess, or like a little bit more strict with the sort of things that I share with you guys here about my dolls, stuff like that, and part of that is because, like, I'm sure those of you guys who, like, watch me on DeviantArt, or you guys, like, follow me on Twitter or whatever, or watch my YouTube channel, my drawing channel, you guys probably know my characters decently well, but to people that have only ever watched my doll channel, this particular channel, I'm sure they don't make much sense to you, and it's probably like, you know, why does she never tell anything about her dolls? Like, I don't get it. And part of that, like, is really, the doll hobby is different than the place that I originate, and that is, you know, the drawing hobby. And really, those two worlds are two very different beasts, and the way that you convey, like, the way that you share information in the doll hobby, the type of information that you share, the amount of information that you share about your dolls, I want to say is more risky. It's something that I feel you don't have as much control over, that you can't keep as much tabs on, and that isn't treated the same way. It's just a different beast for, you know, as the saying goes, and I'm aware of that, and I have been ever since I joined this hobby, and I'm not being secretive because I really want to, or because, again, like, what I'm dancing around at is, or because I think people are going to copy me or anything like that. That's not really the case, but, you know, I'm just aware that it's a different beast, and so the reason why I'm a little bit more secretive here about sharing information about my dolls and my characters and stuff like that is because, you know, I'm aware of this hobby and the way that some people perceive it, and it's different from the drawing world. So that's the reason why I'm a bit more secretive about it. And I know that might sound kind of like arrogant of me. I hope it doesn't seem that way, but logically, realistically, I'm aware that there's a difference there, and so I want to protect myself, protect my creations, protect the stuff that matters to me as much as I can. I don't know if I'm conveying this well, but I try. But anyway, at the same time, I really appreciate all of you guys who continue to subscribe to me and continue to watch my videos, and who really have, like, an honest interest in my dolls and my characters and stuff like that. And I feel like to a certain extent it's, like, it's not really, like, fair of me to be so stingy, like, when you guys are so open and you guys always share all of your dolls, and I love it. It just, I don't know, I love how open you guys are, and you guys don't see things the way that I do, like, as an artist, as someone who is very, very afraid of, quote, copying and stuff like that. You guys are so much more, I don't know, like, unreserved, and I really admire that a lot. And at the same time, while I want to be, like, logical about the whole thing, at the same time, I do want to be a little bit more open with you guys, and to sort of share fun things that, like, I think about all the time. Like, you know, oh, what doll do I want for this character? What characters do I even want to have as dolls? And that's the kind of stuff that, like, I just haven't shared with you guys before, because it's such a personal thing. I always considered it to be such a personal thing for me when it really doesn't have to be. I don't know if I'm making a lot of sense, but hopefully you guys are trying to... hopefully it's going okay, but anyway, I want to be a little bit more open with you guys and just sort of like share a little bit more, like not like everything. I'm not gonna like start reading you pages from the book of Arkell characters, like no, but at the same time, I don't know, at the same time I want it to be more open with you guys and just sort of share more because I think it's really fun and it's a great way to connect with other doll owners, and I don't know, it's something that I want to do, so hopefully you guys don't mind. But anyway, so I am just going to sort of go ahead and just sort of get into it. I know this video is already like 5 minutes long, but I warned you. But yeah, so basically what I want to go ahead and talk about is sort of like the collection of dolls that I have now, and also where I want my collection to be in the future, like idealistically, and the sort of plans that I have right now and for the future, and what my focuses are, and the sort of things that I've come to realize over my hobby existence. But yeah, so I'm just gonna get into it. So, but anyway, hopefully you guys know that I do have a considerable amount of dolls at this point, which is really awesome, and I do want to collect them. They're not just pretty things for me to look at or photograph. I actually want to collect them. So, you know, selling them to get new dolls is not a thing that I want to do. But for my particular collection, of course, I want to analyze like what particular dolls I want and how many I want, and you know, where they fit in with the other dolls that I have. And I'm sure you guys who do watch my DeviantArt or watch my drawing channel or follow me on Twitter or whatever, you guys know my characters and my stories fairly well. And I can't really explain all of it because it's going to sound like a mess right now, but I'll try to be brief. So I'm sure you guys know that I have a few unicorn horned dolls. The one in this video is not the one I'm talking about. He's actually irrelevant to this topic, but I'll get to him in a second. But yeah, the characters that I have from my unicorn character story are my dolls Shu, Etzel, Faustus, Zephyrus. Yeah, those characters that I have in doll form, they're all part of one particular story that is my own, that I've made. Yeah, and their particular story, I've sort of thought about it, and their particular story is the one that I want to focus on the most in this particular hobby. So dolls that represent characters and their story sort of hold more importance than any other dolls that I sort of have on my wish list, if that makes sense. So the other dolls that I do have, like Rem and Fire, those two are from a different story, and then River, he has his little side story, which is a lot smaller than the other two, that he is part of. So yeah, so Fire, Rem, and River, they're part of a different story, and I'll talk about that later. But mostly the plans that I have that I want to talk about are mostly for my unicorn characters. Then I also have Nostalgion here, who is my centaur, who's Mr. Black and White up there in front. He's part of his own tiny little story, and then Rumor next to him, behind him, with the little flower crown. She is like sort of an experiment thing. She's just a work in progress. I don't know what she is. She's a thing. Story development thing. She's a muse. But anyway. Yes. So, as far as plans that I have for dolls in the future, I really want to focus a lot on my unicorn character story. And again, this probably won't make a ton of sense to you guys if you guys don't know my characters very well or whatever. But I do want to be like share with you guys, and eventually I'll give a little bit more, but the main gist of it now. So I'm sure you guys probably know that I used to have another doll before who was my dear mine Rachel, She was one of my only other girl dolls, and she's the only doll that I've ever sold. But the character that she represented was Calliope, who, if you guys don't know my characters again, I'm sorry, this is going to seem really weird to you. I'm sorry, I try. But the characters in that particular story, they're not of a sort of human species, they're a different entity thing, and the way that they like procreate and the way that they experience love and the circle of life is different than the way that we humans do, and they actually form trios or groups of 3 for romantic pairings as opposed to traditional humans or just in pairs. That's how we procreate, is male female. For their particular race, it doesn't work that way. It involves a synergy of energy rather than a male-female pair. Again, it's probably going over your head, but just to explain. So anyway, the doll that I had before that I sold was Calliope, and she was the 3rd member of Shu and Etzel's trio, so Shu, Etzel, and Calliope, and they were their own trio in that story. So, of course, one of my plans that I have, like, you know, in the near future plans, like, as soon as possible, well, not really as soon as possible, but one of my very prominent plans is to reshell that particular character, since she didn't work out in that particular doll. And the doll that I think will really work for her so far, the one that, like, I'm really adamant that will work for her very well, is Dika doll Amanda. And I'll probably link these to you in the description if I forget, and then yeah, just remind me. But I'll probably link these in the description, but I'm sure you guys have probably seen them before, so. But yeah, so for Calliope, I am really leaning towards Dika doll Amanda, but I really want to hybridize her since I don't really care for their, like, default body for that particular character. Calliope is supposed to be really sort of pear-shaped, and she has a lot more definition on the lower half of her body, like in the, you know, hip, thigh region. Yeah, so that the default company body for that will not really work. And also, of course, I really want, like, because they're a trio, like, they're romantic, they're, you know, important to each other, so I really want them to look nice together too. So it's, of course, trying to find, like, proportions and stuff like that that work. So that is the particular doll that I want to get for her. And that's, of course, something that takes precedence on my list of things that I want in the, like, my collection and hobby and stuff like that. But the other doll that I have from that story who's really important, which you guys probably all know because I have, like, the most epic love-hate relationship with this doll, is my Sum Shale human thing, not the one in the video, the other one. I have 2 Sum Shales, one's a centaur and one is not. So the one that is not the centaur, the one that's not in this video, his name is Faustus, and he is part of that particular story. If I didn't mention it before, they're called Unitrios. Very original name on my part. Anyway, so if I use that word, that's what I'm talking about. It's their story with my unicorn characters and the trios. So. Anyway, Faustus, he is also part of that story of mine, and yeah, you guessed it, he also has a trio of his own, which I probably talked about a little bit in the future, or in the past, not the future. I'm talking about things future. I have talked about it a little bit in the past, and also more recently, since I ordered my minifee Luca, who is planned to be one of the members of his trio, who is Euclid, is their name. The other, I've also mentioned before, another doll that I actually partially have, is my minifee Nanuri 14 head, floating head. Anyway, I hopefully intend to make as the other member of his trio, who is Hyacinth. And yeah, so those 3 are their own trio and they're main characters in that little story. So I want to have them together as well. So of course that means getting a body for Hyacinth because he's a floating head, and he does have a body canonly, so oh. Yeah, so anyway, that is of course a priority that I also want to fulfill. So yeah, but also in keeping with their particular story, there is another character that I do want, or actually two. There's two characters that I want to get from their story and also get into doll form, which I have plans for. I'm going to share those with you. One particular character, I really can't say that much at all because it's just a huge story spoiler and I can't do it, guys. But let me just say that there's another character that becomes very, very important in the lives of some of the characters that I've mentioned before. And I'm not going to say how or why, but just bear with me. The character is really, really important to one of said trios. And I do intend to get that particular character as a doll someday. It is definitely one of my, like, set in stone plans now. I've been thinking a lot about what particular doll I wanted for this character, and this sort of leads me into another thing I will talk about, but when I sort of, like, try to find dolls for characters that I already have, since that's kind of the way that I function in this hobby, it's a lot of searching. It's a lot of looking around. It's a lot of just surfing, Flickr photos, just like companies. Oh my god. Because I have my own very distinct vision of what I want my characters to look like and what features suit them, and of course they do heavily reflect my drawing style, and my drawing style is very stylized. So there's a lot of things I look for in my particular characters, and it does take me usually a very, very long time to find a sculpt that I think is absolutely perfect for them without a doubt. Because I don't want to, like, you know, have the struggle of buying a ton of different dolls and then not working out, because that's just ugh. So I like to take my time and really, really think about it. But for this particular character, I was like, no, I'm not, that's so dumb, stop it. I was like fighting with myself for the longest time about what doll I actually wanted for this character. And I've just come to the point where I'm just like, okay, just stop, breathe, just deal with it, okay? It's a goal, you can get there someday. And that is that this particular character I really want, I've decided, as a, tentatively, from this point on, from right now, it might change in the future, but I really want that character as a Minifee Miu, I feel like I slur my words sometimes on certain words, but a Minifee Miu, and in tan skin, and she will be a girl, and most likely probably on the Moe line body. If they ever give a bust option that doesn't look like it's about to explode, that would be great. No offense. But yes, so it has taken me quite a while to sort of like come to the realization that, yeah, that's a kind of big goal, because Fairyland, you guys know, they don't make tan skin available very often, and they could never release it again. So the chances of me finding, like, you know, a Minifee Miu in tan on the Moe line body with a non-balloon breast is, like, ludicrous at this point. But I've accepted that that's what I want the most for her at this point in time. And of course, you know, if it comes to it, there's always, like, dying or, like, whatever. So, but anyway, that's my decision. And even though Minifees are really, really expensive, and that was sort of like a deterrent for me, and just because it's a popular company, and just because it's really hard to find and like archail stuff, but then the like logical me is just like, no, if that's what you want, you shouldn't compromise on it, even if it is kind of unrealistic and whatever. But yeah, so in the future, another character from their story that I will most certainly want to get will be a Minifee Miu in tan. It'll be a girl, by the way, if I didn't say that, duh. Talking about boobs. But anyway, yeah, so she is one of the characters that I really, really want to shell in that story as well. And then the last one, I'm actually really excited about, but kind of, yeah. The other one in their story that I really want to get actually has to do with little Zephyrus, who is my dragon in the back there, if you can see him poking his little head out. He is an Eileen doll lapis, and if you guys haven't seen, Eileen doll recently released a new version of their doll Seed, who is also a little dragon, and they released it in a sort of like minty green color, which is kind of the way they colored it originally, but I really like this time the resin is actually colored, because if you don't know, when I first got Zephyrus, he was completely white, and you can see that he is not white. So I had to paint him extensively, and you know, that's fine and everything, but it's a pain. Oh my god, it is a major pain to paint a little dragon like that and to string them all together and to hope that their paint doesn't chip. It's a struggle. So when I saw that they made a little minty green dragon, I was like, oh my gosh, mint green is one of my favorite colors, by the way, if you didn't know that. And I have been looking into getting a girl dragon for a really, really long time. Again, Zephyrus is part of my unicorn character story, and in their story there was a girl dragon, which I'm still sort of developing, but she is part of their story, and I want to have her as a doll. And when I saw that particular version of that doll, I was like, yes. That is the one. Yes. And that color, and the minty green color. So she unfortunately doesn't have a name yet, because I'm really picky about names, and it takes me forever to find the right name. Same with my minifee Miu, by the way. They are pretty developed characters, but they don't have names yet, because I'm really picky about names. And I will not give placeholder names to my characters. It's a no. But yeah, so like, this is like a tangent now. But yes, the other two characters that I have planned for my unicorn character story, aside from my minifee Luca, who's incoming, and of course getting a body for my minifee January 14, is a minifee Miu in tan skin, and an Eileen doll Seed V2, I believe is what they call it, but it's a minty green skin. And she will be a girl as well. So I have two girls that I plan to get for that story. This is like a tangent and a half. Oh, and also Calliope, reshelling her as well, which I mentioned, I think. As a Dika doll, Amanda hybrid. I explained that. Anyway. So that particular story of mine really holds the most importance to me, and I really want to get those characters shelled, like, first and foremost. But also dolls that I really have on, like, my major importance wish list, like, not just grails, but dolls that I actually have full intention of getting someday, even if that someday is like 5 years later. I do fully intend to get them, and these ones will be a bit more, like, not so specific, and yeah. Anyway, so my Sumtrond River, you guys probably seen him, he's not in this video again. He is my bronze skin Catboy. He also has a little story of his own, and it's not as complex or as convoluted or whatever as my unicorn character story. It's much more simple, but I really, really enjoy it, and there's a few characters from his story that I really, really like to have as dolls as well, which leads me into the next thing. But yes, I would like to get a few dolls in the future portraying characters from his story as well. And the first of which, again, it goes into my whole minifee thing and the Fairyland thing. I'm like, no, I don't want a bunch of Fairyland dolls. Screw the mainstream. Screw $500. What? But yeah, also keeping with that, one of the characters from his story that I really want to shell, that I haven't really mentioned that much, but I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about on this channel anyway, but my characters, so I don't know if it makes any sense. One of the characters from his story is named Trinket, and she is a woman. She is a girl. And long story short, she is basically a love interest, and then eventually moves on to a wife of River. and she's really important to him, of course, and I really want to get her as a doll as well, since that's a really important character to him, and I'd love to have them together. It'd be just peachy. And the doll that I really, really want for her, you guys are gonna roll your eyes so hard, and I'm rolling my eyes right now too, because I'm like, why? But the doll that I really want to get for her is a minifee Chloe in tan skin. And again, like I said, it's a really unrealistic thing. They could never make tan skin again. I probably will never be able to find and or afford a minifee Chloe in tan at this current moment in time. I know. And she's a really, really popular doll. Not that that matters really to me, but you know. But again, I was just like thinking about it and like, okay, I'm beating around the bush here. Like, that is the doll for her, and I'm just, you know, not acknowledging it because I'm being dumb. But yes, that is the doll that I want for her. She is supposed to be like a goddess. She's supposed to be like unrealistically beautiful. So minifee Chloe obviously really has that just beautiful, just elegant sort of look to her. And she has very distinct, like, my character Trinket has very distinctive features to her, in that she has rather, you know, fuller lips and there's a sort of smaller pointy nose. So minifee Chloe really fits that very well, and especially in tan skin. Ideally, what I'd love to get for her is to actually get a sleeping head and mod the eyes open a little bit, because the regular minifee Chloe, her eyes are a little bit more open for my taste, and I'd rather have her with a slightly more, like, sleepy, exotic expression, so to speak. But yeah, I also have plans to someday get that for her. Again, this might just be like, I don't know. Anyway, what is my life? What is this video? But yes, another character that I plan on getting someday as a doll. And also from their particular story, which leads me into other dolls. Like I said, River and Trinket eventually become husband and wife, and they eventually have a child of their own. And even though it's kind of might be a little bit strange for some people in this hobby to consider MSDs as parents, because I don't know, some people I've noticed are a little bit like I don't know what the word is. They're a little bit like against having MSD sized dolls as like mature characters, and I can definitely see that. But my particular dolls, like, I like that size, and you know, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So they eventually have a child of their own, and I'd love to get that particular character as a doll someday, just because I think that would be really, really sweet to have them as a little complete family. And I've already mentioned in another video what this doll is, and that is the doll with the most hilarious name in the history of existence, in my opinion. And that is a doll from Zoom called Apini? I kid you not, this doll, every time I see this name, every time I pronounce this name, I'm like, oh my god. But yes, assume Apini? Anyway, I love that doll. It's a little kitty, and I think it would look really perfect as a child for River, since he is also like a cat-styled thing. And it would just be so perfect. But I need to have him in bronze skin, because if I didn't mention it, I said I did, both of them are darker skinned, so it would not make sense if their baby was white. Just gonna throw that out there. Be like, what? So yes, their child has a similar skin color to themselves, and I think that doll would be perfect. Unfortunately, Zoom has not released that doll in that color, so I'm waiting for a free choice event whenever that may be. Hopefully they have that doll, crossing my fingers. If they don't, of course I'll work around it and try to find a different doll, but that one in particular, I love, 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 love that doll's face. It's just the cutest thing ever, and even if it has the most nonsensical dumb name in the history of forever, I love that doll. It's so cute, and I think it'd be perfect. I'm rambling, oh my god. Listening back to this, I'm gonna be like, wow, I'm really annoying. I cry. The other character from their story that I'd really, really like to get, and I don't think I've ever mentioned, I don't know if I have. I don't think I've ever mentioned this particular character, but really briefly, River is... how to explain this? River has a sort of like spirit, I guess you could call it. He has a sort of like spirit that resides in or around him, I guess, if that makes sense. Kind of like a voice in your head, like kind of like the little good angel on your shoulder or the bad angel, whatever. But for him, it's just one particular person. And his name is Rue. And he's kind of like a young... He's like a young boy. A young, innocent boy. That sounds so good. Anyway, yeah, so he has a little spirit that sort of like, you know, resides around him, and is kind of like a conscience to him in a way, but not quite. Anyway, that particular character is very important to River and River only, and I would really, really like to have him as a doll as well, just because he is so important to him, and I feel like it's a really integral part of River that you guys probably don't know. I've never really shared it before, but it's a very integral part of his character and his experience, and I'd really like to have that particular doll, that character as a doll. I'm just words. And I haven't really showed you guys a picture of this character ever before, I don't think. Maybe I did on Twitter once. I think I did, actually. But the doll I'm actually really, really set on getting for that particular character is Angel Studio Hansi, I believe is how you pronounce it. Hansi? Doll names. But yeah, Angel Studio Hansi, again, I'll probably link it in the description, so if you guys want to see it. I think it just has the perfect face for that particular character. I just love, like, it has the really big eyes and the little pouty mouth, and, like, just the skin, like, colors that they offer, I think will be really nice. And yeah, so I really want that doll as that character. The only thing that I'm kind of hesitant about, and maybe I'm just being really dumb, maybe I'm just being dumb, Angel Studio, they don't only have, like, translucent French resin, right? Or am I just crazy? Because it looks like most of their dolls are taking, like, the pictures of them, like, they use the sort of translucent French resin. But I'm pretty sure, again, I might be crazy, but I'm pretty sure that you have the option of ordering them in regular resin. Like, that's not translucent. I'm 90% sure that's a thing, but if it's not, then I can't. So that's the only thing that's, like, I'm hesitant about there. I'm pretty sure, like I said, I'm pretty damn sure that you can order dolls. They have a regular resin option, and not, like, a French translucent resin, because I hate that, no offense. No. Just a little known fact about me, I hate French resin. Anyway. So hopefully that works out. Like I said, I'm 90% sure, but, you know. Yeah. So yeah, and then as far as, like, other plans that I have, these are just sort of smaller plans, but things that I've worked out. Oh, one of them is, there's another doll that I really, 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 really want to get, and it has nothing to do with any of the characters that I have. There's pretty much no, like, there's, like, one other character that might connect to this character in some way, the way that I've kind of developed them, but anyway. You guys know, I've mentioned it numerous times, but I really, 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 really want a Mini Fiance boy. Ever since I saw Mini Fiance, I'm like, yes. And I just thought he looked like, I thought it looked like a boy when I first saw it, okay? Judge me, I know. Arkel, all your dolls look like girls, they're not boys, stop it. But yeah, I really want a Mini Fiance boy, and I'm gonna get that doll someday. I have to, like, but he's the only doll I've ever seen and been like, I need that doll. And I don't have a character for it. Because other dolls, I'm like, oh, they're really pretty, I really like them, I'd love to own them someday, but I don't know what I'd do with it. But that particular doll, I knew this moment I saw it, I had to have one. And I just didn't have a character for it. But anyway, I fully intend to get one someday on the Moe line boy body, since I really like that body, and it's immature, which, I don't know, words, I probably sound like a weirdo, but mini fiance is a really like immature face, and it probably doesn't look like a boy to you, so I get it, but that body would suit it better if you were. Bear with me. So anyway, so that's a plan that I fully have intended on doing someday, and I've only really have like a very little idea for that particular doll and that character. It's just not a really big, expansive story. It's very simple. And like I said, there's like one other character that is involved with that particular character, and I don't know if we'll ever shell them either, since it's like, But yes, I must have a mini fiance boy. Like, it's just a must. It's like, no questions. Yes. So that is on my plans as well. The other plan that I also have is about Rumor, who is the one in the middle in this frame, who is my only girl at the moment. My fallen doll 4, she's a little fennec fox. I have been thinking a lot about her particular character because she, if you don't know, didn't have one when I got her. She was supposed to be like a fun, experimental sort of doll that I just want to sort of just, just have fun with and just, as I go, develop more for her and stuff like that. And I have been doing that. I've been thinking more about her character and what I want for her and stuff. And it's probably a little bit like, I don't know if you guys will understand this, but when I first got my Fallen Doll Force, I modded her a little bit. I sanded down where her little mouth is, that little muzzle. But I also really wanted to open her eyes when I first got her, because I love the sort of expression that she has. It's like, really like coy and very fox-like. But there was always the like feeling that I really, really wanted to open her eyes and mod her to give her more of an innocent look. But at the same time, I was like, but I really love that sort of like mischievous look that she has now. And I was really thinking about it like the perfect medium for her, I thought, was actually to get another Fallen Doll Force. And this is what I'm leading into here. I want her to be kind of like, this sounds like super lame, but I want to have like a sort of like 2 different versions of basically the same character, so to speak. I'd mentioned before that, you can't really tell in this video, but I mentioned before that Rumor actually has tiny little stitches in her face up, down her face and stuff like that, and she's actually supposed to be a voodoo doll, and you can tell she has a little pin that's stuck in there. And ideally what I want to do is I want to actually get another Fallen Doll Force who Rumor is going to be the voodoo doll of, if that makes sense. Like, that Rumor was created as a voodoo doll to other Fallen Doll Force, insert here. So hopefully you guys understand that idea, and that I think is perfectly idealistic, because on the other one, I plan to mod her eyes to be more open, and I also want to give her a very different like look, because originally when I got Rumor, I wanted her to have lots of very natural colors, very like girly kind of Mori style, but she just isn't that. She is much more colorful and much more like, I don't know, just not Mori style. I want her to be more like almost like Cirque du Soleil, like more out there for her, because she's a voodoo doll, and I want her to have more of a, an in-your-face kind of thing. I don't know, words. But yeah, anyway, so I do plan to get another Fallen Doll Force someday in the future, and I don't know what that doll's name will be. She'll be a girl. I might actually name her Rune, since that was the original name that I wanted to give to my Fallen Doll Force Rumor when I first got her. That was a name that I was thinking about for her, but I'll have to see. I am not quite sure, but maybe I'll use that name for her. But that's my idea that I have. And I hate my dolls to be just like by themselves alone, so I really want her to have something that goes with her, and I think that's a really cool idea. This video is really, really, really long. I'm sorry. Hopefully you guys don't mind. Like I said, I just watch people's videos like while I eat, or while I draw, or while I write, or something, so watching them isn't a big deal for me, but I don't know if you guys are the same. Plus, I go back to videos. If I watch like half of it, I'll go back later. But some people, I don't know. But my last little thing that I want to go ahead and say, as far as in my collection, like, sure, plans that I have, or plans that I really am intent on pursuing for my sort of complete collection, so to speak, has to do with Nostalgion, who is like right in the front, and I haven't talked about him the whole video. But his little story is just very minor. I've mentioned it before, probably, that his character comes from a very literal dream that I actually, you know, imagined while I was asleep, and so it's not like completely like fleshed out because it's more bits and pieces, but it all appears cohesive. So his like sort of story isn't really a story, so to speak. It's more of like, you know, a scene, a scenario. But in that particular scenario, there is another character that is very important to him, and you guys might know who that is, and that is Wishmaker. And that particular character is really important. They're like a pair, they're like a duo. And it's actually funny that Rumor actually looks kind of rainbow-like, and that's sort of what Wishmaker looks like. Like, Nostalgion is black and white, and then Wishmaker is very rainbow, sometimes. So it's funny that Rumor kind of looks like that a little bit. But as far as Wishmaker goes, I literally have no idea what doll I would ever get for her. I have no idea. I kind of want to get her on the Minifee Moe line body just because it's super short, and Wishmaker is very tiny compared to Nostalgion, who's like a giant like centaur thing. Like, he doesn't look like he's very old, and he's not like super like buff or whatever, but anyway, Wishmaker is very tiny and petite, and I want her to be very short. I've almost thought about maybe getting her as even a YoSD, since she is so much smaller. But I think maybe a Minifee Moe line body might work height-wise, maybe, and still look proportionate to each other. But the boobs. I can't. Wishmaker, she's like an androgynous being, but has the pronoun she just because. Nostalgion is also technically genderless, but he has a very much more prominent male look to him. Wishmaker is more androgynous as a whole, but still maintains more of a female physique, but still does not have boobs. So of course, if I got a Minifee Moe line body for her, I'd probably have to get a cutie bust or just sand stuff. And even then, I don't know what face I'd want for her either, so yeah, it's a work in progress on that particular one. But I do want to get that particular character as a doll someday. That would be absolutely amazing. And I love Nostalgion. He has taken quite a while to put together, and had so many ups and downs, and like, I didn't even think that I would own him for a while. And then I was able to get him, and he was a struggle and a half to paint and get to look right, and I was like, why did I even get you in the first place? I don't love you at all. I didn't do that, but yeah, he's been quite the struggle, and then he's come together so well. Probably better than all of my other dolls so far, and I just really love him a lot. I love his aesthetics. I love, like, the face up that I did for him, even though it's not that good. But I just love how he's come together, and he's become really important and meaningful, and it's just special to me. And I'd love to have the character that's really important and special to him as a doll as well, just because I think that will be so great. And yeah. Anyway. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna stop this video now. I just sort of wanted to just tell you guys about my plans and just sort of talk about my dolls a little bit more and just their characters a little bit more. So maybe you guys care a little more. Just kidding. But yeah, I think I owe that to you guys, and just sort of like to share with you guys my plans, because you guys always do that, and it really makes me excited, and it's just a really cool thing to do. And I'm always a little bit hesitant to share, like, you know, what doll sculpts I plan to get for certain characters, just because some of you guys probably know those characters of mine and you've seen them in drawings, and maybe you have a different interpretation of what they would look like as a doll, or just a different interpretation of their character in general, since you don't know them the same way I do. And my characters are very important to me, and I love sharing them with everyone else. But, like, at the end of the day, my opinion means more than 1,000 other people because they're my characters. And I don't know, like, I just kind of subconsciously, like, I had a weird feeling that, like, it would be really heartbreaking if, like, I took so much time and thought into what doll that I wanted as a character, and then have someone to say, Arkell, that doesn't look anything like them. You should have so-and-so doll for them. Arkell, what are you thinking? And I'd be like, no, stop, you ruined my dreams. That's so dramatic, but yeah, hopefully you guys understand what I mean. And not that I thought that you guys would do that or whatever, but I was just really apprehensive to sort of share, like, my plans with you guys, because maybe you guys don't see the same way as I do, and I don't know how to explain things, but, like, when you have your own characters and your own story, no one knows them better than yourself, than the person that created them. And of course everyone has their own opinions and thoughts and feelings and visions of stuff that other people create, but at the end of the day, no matter how lame it is, no matter how unoriginal it is, no matter how original it is, no matter how it might look like to you, it is something very specific to me, and I just didn't know if you guys would see this it the same way. Or if it didn't work out, you guys would tell me I told you so. That's not what I mean. But anyway, yeah, hopefully you guys understand. I don't know if you guys understand what I talk about. I just ramble, and I try, but I don't really know if you guys know what I'm talking about. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching if you did. I hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and I'm sorry it's like a freaking hour long, but I can't ever explain stuff in like a few seconds. Reasonable time. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys so much.